Hello, heckling fandom. It is just I, as Ryan is having an affair with the MMA portion of our podcast, and Ron, as usual, is MIA. It's time for garbage time. Welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. I am your host, JJ LaPlante, joined by the always reliable Joe McCann. How you doing tonight, Joe?
Doing great. I kind of was disappointed, Dad, on you three for not being able to fit a waiver show in on Tuesday. But, I'll get over that because you're here tonight. But, in essence, we're still going to have to make fun of Ryan for being the ugly stepsister that decided to go over to the MMA show tonight. And guys, if you want to watch that, that's at 9 o'clock tonight if you're more into that than fantasy football. But really, you want to spend time with us, right, JJ?
That's right. And we'll cruise with just this dynamic duo, and you'll be able to catch the second half of Ryan's show probably. So
absolutely. So you can go back and watch that later. And guys, look, the ghost has returned. The ghost of Ron Seymour is back, ghosting shows. And guys, if you like what you hear on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, make sure to like and subscribe to the show here on YouTube. We are also live on Twitter and Twitch. You can get at us an audio format too at Apple, Spotify, Google, Pandora, Amazon, Iheartradio, Tunein. Leave us voicemails at www.garbagetimeff.com, on Twitter at garbage_timeff, and on Instagram, Garbage Time Fantasy Football. And go over and watch our MMA show after this show, correct?
Correct.
What channel is that on, JJ?
The Garbage Time presents the MMA podcast.
It's been so long you didn't even remember that. And where can you win this card, JJ?
Well, you can win it from us by liking and subscribing, commenting you're part of the heckling fandom, and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts. Did I get them all?
You did. I'll give you ownership of the show again.
All right. I appreciate it. Anything before we get into the news here?
No, I'm ready to hit some news. Let's talk about some fantasy football.
All right.
News updates.
All right, probably the biggest news of the week fantasy-wise has been keeping up with Josh Allen. So both Wednesday and today, he did not practice due to his sprained right elbow. That's his throwing arm, of course. There's a lot of people saying that they don't think Josh Allen is going to play this week. If he doesn't play, what does your faith in Case Keenum look like?
I don't have much faith in him this week, and I think this is going to be a downgrade for both Stefon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. Both are playable, but I think what you're going to see is a very reliable run game, and I think the Buffalo Bills will try to out-physical them. So I think that's going to be an upgrade for Devin Singletary on this week, and potentially a good play at their tight end position too. So look for the security blanket this week, and look for Stefon Diggs to have a downgrade and the running backs to have a slight upgrade.
I think they're okay with Keenum. If you think about this game, it's actually very interesting if Keenum plays.
It's a revenge game.
It's a revenge game for both Diggs and Keenum, the duo that produced the Minneapolis Miracle. Mm-hmm. Keenum's I would say he's probably a top 5 backup in the league. So I think he can really distribute the ball and do enough to win. And I don't think he's going to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns by any means. But, I think like between 220 and 250 yards and a couple touchdowns is not that much. So I think Diggs will obviously be okay. Gabe Davis, Keenum doesn't throw the deep ball like Josh Allen, but if you got those guys, I think you're still probably starting them. Well, obviously you're starting Stefon Diggs, but
I guess we'll see if you're picking them to get the upset this weekend, JJ. Sounds like you have some things to say about that.
The upset. They're favored. As of now.
Ryan asks, where's Ron? Ghosting as usual, Ryan.
That is the question. He forgot to take his baby aspirin this morning and had to run into Walgreens and stock up.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. He was in bed.
Next news, Jonathan Taylor, full participant. He's expected back. Is this going to be 2021 Jonathan Taylor, or is this going to be the ghost of Jonathan Taylor like we've seen all season?
I think you'll see something in the middle. I think you'll see a little bit more production out of him this week. Jeff Saturday has taken over this team. An offensive lineman, so in his gut, it's going to tell him to run the ball here. I think we may actually see Matt Ryan come to the starting lineup too. I've heard that he's kind of a participating quarterback on the roster right now. I think they kind of want to get away from the mess that they've had the last 2 weeks. Well, I don't trust Matt Ryan. I think that's the direction they'll end up going over the next few weeks. But look for them to absolutely pound the rock with Jonathan Taylor over the next 3 or 4 weeks, and he will be returning to prominence here.
It seems like they Jim Irsay put Sam Ehlinger into tank intentionally so they can finally draft a quarterback high. So,
yeah, but do you think Jeff Saturday is going to do that? I imagine he's going to have say on who's playing quarterback for them.
They're just better with Matt Ryan, and
yeah,
I agree. All right. Also coming back, Ryan Tannehill expected to play versus the Broncos. That is some much needed support for the Titans offense. Your boy Malik Willis, the pride of Liberty, has less than a 50% completion percentage.
Not good.
He's really not been able to progress, which, he's a project coming in. That's kind of what was expected. So he kind of got thrown into the fire a little bit, I think. So Tannehill comes back in. They're talking about Treylon Burks coming back as well. Is this passing game going to be revitalized for the Titans?
No, not against the Denver Broncos. It's not going to be revitalized. Tannehill will be back there. Treylon Burks is going to have to be reacclimated again, coming off of injury. Robert Woods has been a now show here. Look for the Derrick Henry show to continue.
All right. And Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow both placed on IR by the Raiders. I saw that you picked up Matt Collins in
I did.
League, so I think you have the answer to this question, but who do you think is going to step up as the pass catcher for the Raiders?
Obviously, it's going to be Matt Collins.
I
wonder why I think that.
Yeah. Then Elijah Moore has been moved to the slot, according to Robert Saleh. What's your take on this as a Jets fan? It's where he belongs, right?
It is where he belongs, but I think it's going to be a long slog for him to actually be productive there in the slot because he's been in the doghouse for the Jets now for 4 or 5 weeks, and maybe the beginning of the season because he wasn't getting the ball then too. And it's not like they don't have weapons there in the slot anyway. Denzel Mims is starting on the outside. Their rookies playing absolutely fantastic. Corey Davis is coming back. And I don't know. I just don't know if there's going to be really any targets there for him this year. I think that he's going to kind of coast the rest of the year, maybe 7-8 fantasy points some weeks, but he's not going to be very effective for you for fantasy, I think, for the rest of the season.
All right. So last couple bits, a couple injury news, a couple injury pieces. Kyler Murray has a hamstring injury. He was seen at practice today. He did not practice yesterday due to the hamstring injury. I think he'll probably play Sunday, but we'll get into that a little bit. But kind of scary when you think about Kyler Murray's skill set. He can run. He doesn't do it enough, but he can run. So that's kind of part of his game. And then Matt Stafford yesterday was placed in concussion protocol where he remains, and he did not practice today either. So
I don't think he's playing.
You don't think he's going to play? It's going to be John Wolford?
I think it will be.
All right. That's kind of scary for Cooper Kupp and those Rams pass catchers.
Yeah, actually, seeing the dynamics of this game, I do agree with you. I do believe Kyler Murray is going to end up playing in this game. It was kind of funny that I saw you picked an old favorite Texas boy up to potentially play in the Dynasty League, but I don't think you'll get to start him, Colt McCoy. It's kind of looking like Kyler Murray is going to play, but I don't trust Wolford to run the Rams offense. And actually, this ended up making me change who I think is going to win this game, which we will get into a little bit later, too.
Yeah, if Stafford doesn't play, I'll probably flip that one. But Wolford did an okay job filling in before for the Rams, so we'll see. He had to play in the playoffs 2 years ago when Goff was still the QB.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's all I have for news. You have anything that I missed?
No, but I wanted to add something there that you just said about Wolford there, too. I think a pretty decent add in a lot of fantasy teams, if you're streaming this week, could be the Cardinals defense because the Rams offense has been absolutely atrocious, and bringing in a backup quarterback could spell disaster for that offense. Could be a decent streamer on the week.
They cannot run the ball. That is for certain.
Yeah, before we get into the news, too, we got to address this comment, too. I think it's a pretty funny one. Ryan says, I trust gas station sushi and the Jets not crushing Joe's dreams more than I trust Ron keeping a podcast commitment. Wow. Very well said, Ryan. Very well said.
We called Ron the ghost. His attendance has been pretty good lately, but
it has been.
We all fell off Tuesday, and then there was a bye week last week. We've been sloppy. We gotta put it together here.
Yeah. You guys gotta pick that game up.
I know. All right, let's get right into this game number 1. We got a morning game again, which I love because it truly means football from sunrise to sunset. So
it sure does.
We got the Seahawks at Tampa, but the game, first ever NFL game being played in Germany. So
you don't like NFL Europe?
Bucks are -2.5. Bucks are -2.5 point favorites. So let's get this rolling. The Bucks have been surprisingly bad against the run. So is Ken Walker going to stay on fire and keep scoring touchdowns and racking up the yards?
Yeah, I think he's just too good to not be doing that. Honestly, you see him. He's going to be a dominant running back in this league, and I think he's going to play a prominent role trying to keep Tom Brady off the field there in Europe. Look for Ken Walker to continue his touchdown streak, and I really think he's going to be very good in Germany.
All right, with that being said, do you trust both? I mean, if you have these guys, you're probably playing them, but what's the outlook for Metcalf and Lockett in this one versus Tampa, who's started to play pretty good against the pass lately?
Well, Geno Smith has proven against very good defenses that he can pass against very good defenses, and he's averaging 2 touchdowns a game over the course of the season. So I think you have to play both Lockett and Metcalf in this game, whether you have a bad feeling on that secondary or not for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Agreed. Now, I know you don't like this guy, but on Sunday, he led a game-winning drive. I was very fired up about it. Is this the spark that the Buccaneers offense needed? Is Brady going to get back on track and actually throw for multiple touchdowns in this game?
Let's see. Over the last 5 to 7 weeks, he's averaged 1 or 0 touchdowns. That shit ain't impressive. No, he's not going to get back on track in this game.
Ooh.
Look for him to be
Ryan says Tom Brady shows out in foreign games. He's going to bounce back and get the W.
Go be a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, Ryan.
So heckling fandom, there's a lot of built-up hatred here coming from Joe, and I don't know how rational he can be when discussing Tom Brady. So I do think he at least throws a couple in this one. I think that was a spark last week. Something that I think that may be the turning point in the season. They're first in the division now. I think that game was a big motivator for the Bucks. So I think
yes, that touchdown to Auden is definitely going to turn the season around.
He had a couple drop touchdowns. His receivers did not help him out. So I like Brady. I think he's startable this week. I would play him if you have him, unless you got like Fields or somebody like that behind him. Last question I have on this game, the running back situation for Tampa. Rachaad White is starting to get more touches, and a lot of beat reporters are saying he's eventually going to take the job by the end of the year. Fournette is openly pissed off about this. What's the split going to look like? Are they going to try and appease Fournette and give him his rollback, or are they just going to ignore him and let Rachaad White continue the takeover?
I think you'll see them showcase Fournette this week, but I think long-term, by the end of the season, I think this is White's job. He will take over more of that 60-40 role, I think. It'll still be a little bit more of a committee, but I can see why Fournette's getting pissed. There's a more talented running back sitting right behind him.
See, I don't know. I have not been impressed with Rachaad White, but he hasn't really done anything that's blown me away. I think Fournette's played better. So,
Ryan, if you wanted to be on the podcast tonight, you should have just been on the podcast and done the MMA show tomorrow. Only Joe would be unimpressed with a 40-second touchdown drive with no timeouts. No, I wouldn't be, Ryan, because Zach Wilson did some similar shit in week 2. So, no, it's just I don't like Tom Brady.
Is White a flex play or not yet? Ryan asks.
I think he's a flex play this week.
I wouldn't do it yet.
I think you can.
If you're desperate, all right. Who you got in this one, Joe?
Seattle Seahawks.
I'm picking the Bucs.
They're 6-3. We got to stop not believing in them. Geno Smith's been playing very good for that team.
All right. Next game, Vikings at Bills. Elephant in the room. Is Josh Allen going to play?
No, he's going to sit this week. They've got a long-term outlook, which is winning a Super Bowl this week. So look for them to rest him up and get him ready for a playoff run later in the season.
All right. I don't think he's going to play either. I think they're going to be conservative. They're at home. They have, again, another good backup this year. It's why they're paying him a premium to do this. So I think they're going to rest Allen too. Would you trust Gabe Davis? Would you play him?
I actually trust him a little bit more than Stefon Diggs this week, I think.
Wow.
For the reason that you said that this backup quarterback likes throwing deep, and Gabe Davis is the deep target in this offense. So I think I would
Go ahead.
I
said he couldn't throw the deep ball like Josh Allen, but
I think he can, though. I mean, we've seen it before. I trust Gabe Davis a little bit more than Stefon Diggs this week. Just this week. This isn't every week.
That's bold.
Okay.
So where do you rank TJ Hawkinson now? It's season long. Last week he was peppered with targets. Is this just going to be part of the Vikings offense now? They're actually going to start using the tight end now?
Yes, absolutely.
Did you say he was top 5 last week? I can't remember if you were in that game.
I did. Yep.
Okay.
Rest of the season, I did believe he was top 5. I was more cornering Ryan into making a take to see if we could get a cold take out of him. Don't think we really got one out of him. It was a pretty good take on his part, so we'll see how it goes rest of the season if we can record that under the video or not. Ryan's talking shit down here and has some questions. Should we get to those?
I'm going to do one question.
All right, we'll do this one. Does Singletary or Hines have a big game without Allen out? I think Singletary is going to be in for a very good game this week. I think they're going to look to rely on the run and push the Vikings offensive line around.
Okay. I mean, Vikings defense doesn't super scare me. I think Singletary can get loose as well. They got a good line. I wouldn't play Hines yet, but just keep an eye on how many touches he gets. I really didn't like that move by them. They drafted James Cook pretty high, was a similar skill set, and so I really didn't get that.
If any team has the luxury of doing this and wasting high draft picks on players that they think may work out and then just going, we'll just go get the thing that we actually want, which was Nyheim Hines. The Buffalo Bills are a team that can do it. They're pretty deep.
Okay. All right. That's all I have for this one. Really not much to talk about. You know who you're starting. You're starting Jefferson. You're starting Cook. You're starting Davis and Diggs, Singletary, Allen if he plays. I got the Bills at home in this one. No matter
I've got the Vikings on the road.
I think the Vikings got you fooled.
And I do think Jefferson will have a very good week this week.
Okay. All right. Lions at the 3-6 Chicago Bears 3-point favorites.
Okay.
So last week we saw Fields take another step forward, throwing in 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Cole Kmet, 1 to Darnell Mooney. Can we start trusting these Bears pass catchers yet?
So I think you can trust Cole Kmet as a starting tight end. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. Mooney's a little bit more unreliable, kind of a wide receiver 3, I think, still at this point. You got to love what you see out of Justin Fields, but that's based on his athleticism. Really looking at what he can do, he could potentially be a top 5 fantasy quarterback next year. He's looking very good.
He's already QB7 this year.
It's not top 5 yet. I mean, he's getting close. Yeah.
What is his? Out of a gallon.
Yeah, that's okay. You must have gone to the gym or something. You lunk. But no, I don't trust the pass catchers quite yet. I like Kmet a little bit more than Mooney. Claypool, I think, in a week or two is going to start showing out here too, and Mooney will go to his natural role where you can trust him more.
I like Mooney. The targets are starting to increase. He's historically played well against the Lions, who have a subpar corners. So I think you can definitely play Mooney in the flex. Claypool is risky, but Fields took multiple deep shots to him. He got interfered with every deep ball there was versus the Dolphins, so that was tough. Yeah. But I could definitely see him catching a bomb in this one. I would probably play Claypool over someone like Michael Gallup or somebody that you're maybe desperately starting in the flex. But still, I really think it's more of a wait and see on him for now.
That's a tough one for me. I don't think I'd want to play Claypool or Gallup, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're in a deeper league and it's like between players like that, I think Claypool is Ryan. If you got the script, you'd know that this is the next question coming up. Next question. What's the Montgomery Herbert split going to look like this game? I would start Montgomery, but what do you think about Herbert, who had a down week last week?
I think Herbert's still flex worthy, definitely. I think Montgomery, as you already said, is going to get the majority of the touches here. I'm looking for him to get into the end zone this week. I think they're going to rely on him heavily. Detroit's got a pretty good offense, and you guys are going to need to stay into the game by establishing the running game. So look for Montgomery to be in there on nice rushing plays, in passing situations too. He's the better blocker, so Montgomery's going to be in for a good week, and Herbert's going to get enough work to be viable this week.
Okay. I think you're starting Montgomery. Herbert, yeah, he's a fringe flex for me as well. I think this is a good matchup versus Detroit. I really think Montgomery will get into the end zone in this one, so I like him a little bit. I think the Bears are going to be able to establish a run at home versus Lions D-line. So I agree. I think they both have potential to be definitely Montgomery. You can definitely play Herbert if you need to. So what is the deal with DeAndre Swift? Banged up all year. Touches are down. They're saying they're going to uptick him this week. It's a good matchup versus the Bears defense. What do you think about him this week?
Man, I mean, you have to play him if you have him. It just,
yeah.
I don't trust him. It's scary, but we saw what he could do in the first few weeks and the viability of him if he actually is out there playing well. But Jamal Williams has just been better due to the injury. I mean, I think you have to play both of these guys. I think they're both viable in your lineup. You just got to hope that Swift actually gets the touches that the coaches are talking about here. And they may actually look to do that because this coaching staff may be looking to save their job at the end of the year. They're not winning a ton of games. They're motivating their players, but there's a lot of talent on this roster, and the owners may start seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions have a great offensive line, and Jamal Williams is capitalizing on it, and DeAndre Swift just cannot stay on the field. So I think you definitely play him this week. It's a good matchup versus the Bears, who have struggled versus the run. Their linebackers are probably the worst in the league at this point without Roquan Smith, a bunch of journeymen or UDFA.
Who's the higher scorer on the week, you think?
Between Swift and Williams?
Mm-hmm.
I think Swift. I think he's going to catch some passes out of the backfield. It's a good matchup for them, for the Bears linebackers. So,
okay.
And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, is he finally going to have a good game after starting off so hot, playing against his brother on the Bears?
Yeah, I think this is the one where you're going to see him potentially score 20-plus points. Look for him to get heavily involved this week, and I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to have a top 5 performance on the week.
All right. Over or under 20 points?
Over.
Did you say over? Yeah, you just said over. All right. What do you got in this one?
Probably the Bears.
Probably the Bears, Joe. Say it with some confidence. The Bears. Say it with some confidence.
I definitely wouldn't take a bet on this game, I don't think, in any of my parlays.
Taking the Bears. We got the better quarterback.
That is the case.
All right. Next, Denver Broncos at Tennessee Titans. Titans 2.5-point favorites. That line may have increased with the news of Tannehill. I'll have to check on that.
Mm-hmm.
So who the hell is going to get the ball for the Broncos? Who's going to run the ball?
A committee. This is just a situation I want to avoid altogether.
Would you start Melvin Gordon?
I mean, there's been so many injuries to the running back position. You kind of have to, but I don't feel like he's going to get anything more than 8 or 9 points in the week. I don't trust him. This situation just kind of, this situation, the running back position for the Denver Broncos just flat out sucks. I hate this offense. It is one of the worst and most boring offenses to watch in the whole NFL. Like, I am sick of watching them in primetime. I don't even want to see them in the 1 o'clock slot. Like, I just don't want to see the Denver Broncos play football anymore.
Joe has shunned the Denver Broncos from his screen.
How can you not? Like, you even
No,
see them on you can't even see them on red zone because they don't score touchdowns.
I'm used to my team being, the team that people are saying that about. Now the Bears are must-see TV, so it's nice to have
Yeah,
another
no,
team get talked about like this.
getting them nice athletic runs out there. How do you not like it?
All right, so yeah, I think Melvin Gordon is the only one I would consider, and he's fringe flex. Really messy situation there. My next question was, do you think the bye helped them out at all? Is Russell Wilson going to start playing a little better now that they've had a little time to assess first half of the year?
No, this man's too busy doing commercials. And the Tennessee Titans defense is suffocating. We saw that against the Chiefs last week. This is not going to be a good game for Russell Wilson.
Well, to be fair,
Mahomes
had over 400 yards on them, but
yeah, but the game script didn't dictate what was actually happening.
all right.
That defense played very well against him and kept them in the game because 7 points in the third and fourth quarter should
They were tough in the second
improvise.
half.
Yeah, they're stingy. Should improvise that the Titans should have played better, but Malik Willis is a rookie. You can't expect miracles from them.
All right. I already asked on Traylon Burks in the Titans passing game, but is there anybody that you would start on the Titans besides Derrick Henry?
No.
No Robert Woods, no Traylon Burks.
I have no interest in any of them this week.
All right. That settles that. I am picking the Titans at home.
I am too. I'm looking for this to be another defensive struggle where the final score is something like 9-3. Both these offenses suck. Derrick Henry will get his because he's good enough to even stomp down a defense like the Denver Broncos, which is Super Bowl caliber. Good thing their offense isn't.
So the line did move to 3. I think this is like a 20-17 game.
Maybe you're much more optimistic than I am.
Maybe a little bit. All right. Next game, Jaguars at Chiefs. Chiefs 9.5-point favorites. First question about McCole Hardman. He's really kind of stepped up, and his touches have increased the past 2 weeks. Now, he is hurt dealing with an abdominal issue, and he has not practiced. But if he does play, would you say he's becoming a trustworthy weekly starter? Kind of plug him in your flex and forget about it.
I think outside of this week he will be, but I think Juju Smith-Schuster will be a little bit better for this game. McCole Hardman being banged up, I think, will be a little worrisome, and I think they're also getting a little bit of trust in Juju too. So McCole Hardman, long-term for the season, yes, but Juju more this week.
Okay. And just to go back to the last game real quick, Ryan said Murray's had games with back-to-back touchdowns, no interest in a flex play. I'm just not gonna rely on that, especially with the addition of Chase Edmonds. I can't do it. But now that we've said that, I can definitely see him falling into the end zone and Ryan being able to hit us with the told you so. But
by the way, we got the Titans winning that game too.
Yes. So one thing I'm worried about in this game is the game script. I can see the Chiefs at home jumping out to a big lead and then kind of coasting in the second half, maybe hindering Mahomes and Kelsey from keeping their foot on the pedal. What do you think? What's going to happen in this game?
I don't really see that happening because we kind of saw that happen with the Raiders last week, and Jacksonville caught up very quickly. Okay. So even if they do jump out very early, look for them to keep their foot on the pedal, I think. So now look for Mahomes and Kelsey to have a very good week this week.
Okay. And what do you think? What do you think of ETN? Is he going to stay hot? He's been like a top 3 running back the past 2 weeks.
Yep, they're going to look to dictate, keep Mahomes out the field. He's going to be good in the running game. He's very viable in the passing game. ETN is going to be their dog in this game. And if the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to stay in this game, they're going to need him to be good. So look for ETN to continue his hot streak.
Exactly. If they're winning, they're going to be running him and tossing him a couple passes. But if they're losing, obviously, he catches the ball well as well. So
he's good in both kind of formats.
And what's your level of trust with Trevor Lawrence? He's been pretty up and down and inconsistent this year. Would you trust him as a bye week fill-in for, like, if you have Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson?
In this game, I do. You already mentioned this is the kind of game script where they can fall behind very early. So this could be a very viable week for him and ETN. He could be passing a lot to ETN, who could be getting a lot of yak. He's got decent weapons out there. They're going to be playing a lot of catch-up. Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is a very decent fill-in for the week.
All right. No surprise, I picked the Chiefs.
You got to pick the Chiefs in this one.
All right. Browns at the juggernaut Miami Dolphins offense. Dolphins 3.5-point favorites at home. My first question: Njoku returning to Miami, where he played his college ball. It sounds like he's going to play. If he does, is he going to pick up right where he left off? Would you start him?
Yeah, I would absolutely start him coming back. Yeah, Miami's kind of a party city. You always have to worry about that too. Them going out the night before and players kind of slogging. It kind of seems to be a theme whenever teams go down to Miami. But I think the Joker will be motivated to get out for this game, whether he went out the night before or not. I think the injury is healthy enough for him to come back and be productive in this. I actually think he'll get a touchdown this week.
Oh, a call has been made. I like it. All right. What do you think about Kareem Hunt? He's really been up and really down, pretty inconsistent this year. Would you trust him as an RB2 or flex, or would you try and avoid him?
I think I would try to avoid him this week. The Miami Dolphins defense, well, not great. Just it doesn't feel like it's going to be a very good game script for him. I think the Dolphins will get up in this game and they'll need to actually pass the ball around a little bit. And I understand Kareem Hunt is a running back that does catch out of the backfield, but Chubb is more talented. They'll look to keep him on the field. He's a decent blocker. I don't like Kareem Hunt this week.
Okay. I think he's a flex play, but I'm not feeling great about it, so I'm kind of with you there. So big news for the Browns after having a concussion. Denzel Ward's finally back after missing 4 weeks. Does this scare you at all if you're a Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle owner? It does not scare me.
No, not one bit.
You just cannot stop those two.
No, they are speed demons, and they are going to be a nuisance to the AFC East for the next 2 or 3 years.
Who's going to have the bigger game between those two on this one? It's a Waddle game or a Hill game?
Probably a Hill game.
It's been a lot of Hill games lately.
Yeah, I kind of think that's going to continue. They're going to try to get him the receiving record, so look for that to continue all the way through the season. Not that Waddle won't have a great year too, but Hill's just slightly a level above him as up to this point.
Okay. Last question I have on this one is about Miami's backfield. We saw Jeff Wilson come in, immediately get a lot of touches and have a higher YPC than Raheem Mostert. Is he going to be the starter now, or is it going to be 50-50 split? What's it going to look like?
Let me correct you there. He is the starter in Miami.
Oh.
Yeah, Mostert is now number 2. Jeff Wilson will get the work on first and second down. Mostert will get the work on third down in the passing situations, I believe. They want to keep Mostert healthy because he's kind of the home run hitter. They'll give him a little bit of less touches and hope that he gets those 60 to 70-yard runs during the games. And they saw what they could get from Mostert, but they want to keep him, as I said, healthy. So look for them to bang Jeff Wilson on first and second down. They don't care about fantasy football. Bang.
Bang him on first and second down. Bang him twice.
Yep.
And then move on.
Exactly. Good for fantasy football, too. And for Jeff Wilson.
You're a dog, Joe. You're a dog. All right. I got the Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins are going to win this game.
This could be a weird game, though. I don't know. Something's tickling me. I don't know.
The Browns tend to get into these kind of games where they look like they shouldn't hang around. Then all of a sudden it's a 45-40 kind of game.
Bitch slapped the Bengals a couple weeks ago. I could see Chubb having a good game in this one, but we'll see.
Don't get me wrong. The Jets are 6-3. I'd love to see the Browns upset them, but I don't see it in the cards.
All right. See. Brissett played in Miami too last year. It's a little bit of a revenge narrative.
A lot of revenge narratives for backup quarterbacks, I see.
Yes. Interesting week. So I was hoping that the original host of this podcast would be on to discuss this game, but we got the Houston Texans facing off with the New York Football Giants. Giants 4.5-point favorites. So Brandon Cooks has been limited in practice all week with his wrist injury. If he plays, is he going to be okay fantasy-wise?
Are you saying that he's ghosting the team right now?
He did ghost the team.
Well, Brandon Cooks has been bitching since he didn't get traded. I really don't know what to make of him right now. I mean, you're going to really have to watch this up until game and see if he's actually going to play, I think. I mean, if he's active, I think you got to play him. He's very good for fantasy football always, but I don't know what's going on in his emotional state right now. He's not a player that typically complains. He's been traded all over the league and has been a very good team player. This is out of the norm. I really don't know what to think of this. What's your thoughts on this, JJ?
Yeah, I think if he's active, you're playing him if you got him. But I don't know how you feel about it. He's obviously at any time can go off with his speed and skill set, but yeah, I wouldn't feel great having him play him, but I would play him if I had him.
How do you feel about Nico Collins potentially returning?
I mean, I think he's a decent player, but I would not play him in fantasy. He's just not at the point where he can be reliable yet, unless you got to throw an absolute dart.
Best ball.
Yeah, I wouldn't play Nico Collins.
Fair enough.
All right. So Dameon Pierce last game had 27 carries for 137 yards, which is great, but he didn't score a touchdown or catch any passes. So did the Texans maybe say, hey, maybe we should get this guy the ball in space a little bit, maybe throw him a screen or a swing pass, or does he have a single reception in this game?
I think they may actually rest him a little bit in this game. He actually showed up on the injury report today with the ribs. So as disgusting as it is,
shoulder and chest, right?
Yeah. They may get Rex Burkhead involved in this game. That is disgusting for fantasy football. Dameon Pierce has kind of been downgraded to a running back 2 for me this week. I mean, the Giants have a very good defense, and with the injury, they want to keep their commodity healthy, I think. So yeah, I think you may see a lot of Rex Burkhead in this game.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have 27 carries. I think he can hit the 20 mark, but I'd like to see him with like 3 receptions maybe. Get him involved in the passing game. Get him a little space. Get him in a little space.
I don't think this will be the week though.
All right. So on the other side of the ball, Saquon Barkley, I set this line over or under 24.5 fantasy points PPR.
That run defense is pretty bad, and Saquon is the whole Giants offense. So this is over.
Week. I agree. I think he's the RB1 this week, in my opinion.
This is not a rest week for Saquon Barkley. This is all.
He got his rest in last week. He's ready to roll.
This is going to be bad.
All right. If you're listening to this, cover your ears and don't listen. Do you trust Daniel Jones as a fill-in quarterback if you got a Lamar Jackson or a Burrow on a bye week?
You know what? I really do. I think the Texans defense is pretty bad. And he's athletic enough to play good. He's not Justin Fields athletic, but he's good enough to move around.
Nobody is.
He's been taking care of the ball, and he's doing all right. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson's there. He's fringe somewhere between 12 to 15. You can probably flex him this week.
Okay. I picked the Giants.
I did too. As much as I'd like to see the Giants get a loss, and Ron actually have to say something about it. Like, the sky is falling, but they haven't lost yet, and they're not going to lose this one either.
General Mills, you better start winning some games. They're going to draft your replacement top 5.
Yeah, man. I'm a big fan of you. You look like a pretty decent, Jeff Garcia kind of style quarterback long term. But
Jeff Garcia.
Yeah, what a name.
All right. Next game, another clunker, I would say. New Orleans Saints, 1.5 points favorite at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Does Alvin Kamara rebound from his garbage Monday night performance last week?
Yeah, he should. I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't. I'm not very excited, honestly, about many options in this game. Alvin Kamara could have more of that 80 yards kind of one touchdown kind of game. That's the feeling I'm getting with him. I don't think he's going to be overly impressive, but he's not going to disappoint you this week.
Okay. Yeah, if you haven't, you're obviously playing him, but hopefully you can step up. Are you done with Taysom Hill? Really let fantasy owners down this past week, having like 5 fantasy points or less. He's not had a big game in quite some time. Are we done trusting him? Is he back on the bench /cut?
Here's the problem. nobody has ever trusted Taysom Hill. But when you're in an emergency and you really need to win a game, Taysom Hill is always an option. But when you want to play him is when teams are really bad against the tight end currently, because that's the position he's playing out of. He is that oddity you don't know when he's going to hit, but if you're down and your opponent's a heavy favorite and you need a lot of fantasy points, you're going to take that dart throw at Taysom Hill. So the secret, it's not even really a secret. No, you've never trusted Taysom Hill, but guess what? Teams are still going to pick him up if they're streaming tight ends because he's always there.
All right. I'm dropping him. I didn't add him last week.
Maybe another week.
Yes, I did. Okay. Some really interesting storylines for the Steelers. So this is their first game without Chase Claypool this year. So what is this target breakdown going to look like? Is it going to be George Pickens? Is Deontay Johnson going to start getting targets like he did with Big Ben the past couple of years? What do you think?
Deontay Johnson's going to be in for a good week. Saints defense is pretty good. So I look for the veteran to have a better week. George Pickens, God, he's so talented, but it's a rookie quarterback throwing to him. So I think he's going to trust his veteran a little bit more this week. But flip a coin, honestly. But I'm going with the veteran having a better week. I think Deontay Johnson's going to be in for almost a little bit of a renaissance the second half of the season now that Claypool's been traded. Look for Deontay Johnson to have a good second half of the year.
I like Pickens this week. No Marshawn Lattimore. It doesn't look like
I don't hate either of them, but
yeah, I think Pickens. I think he's definitely flex worthy. I'm playing him in a couple of leagues, so I think this is a decent matchup for him at home.
Both are playable, I think.
I agree. So a lot of reports this week about Najee Harris losing playing time. I don't know if you saw that viral play where Pickett threw him like a 1-yard pass.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have just run forward for the first down, and he stopped and did like the slowest juke of all time and then got gang tackled. He just looks slow and terrible. Would you consider benching Najee Harris?
For who?
So I'll give you an example. I have Najee Harris in the league, and I benched him for Deontay Foreman tonight.
Oof. God. I think I would. I think I would for Foreman. Wow, that's scary to say.
So the Thursday night game's happening now. It's almost halftime. Foreman has 12 carries for 52 yards.
Doesn't look bad then.
Yeah, I don't think Harris is going to rush over 52 yards. So
that's unbelievable to say this at the beginning of the season. We were looking at him potentially having a top 5 kind of year.
He's like pretty much a top 10 pick everywhere.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely a disappointment on the year.
What do you think about Jaylen Warren? Would you stash him? Do you think he has a legit shot to take the job from Harris?
I mean, I think you always got to stash Jaylen Warren. I think he's pretty talented. But week by week, we haven't seen it yet. And we're 10 weeks in, and I keep saying it, but you haven't done anything. And it's almost playoff time, and you need starters to get to the playoffs. So you can't stash him for much longer, I don't think, unless you're the Najee Harris owner.
All right. I'm picking the Steelers to upset the Saints in this one.
Oh, we're not even picking this one. This game did not excite me either.
Yeah,
I think I went with
that's coming up.
Yeah, it's okay though. I mean, you can't have freaking barn burners every week. I got the Steelers winning this one.
Okay, I like it. All right, next game: Dallas Cowboys going up to Lambeau to play the Green Bay Packers. Cowboys.
Green Bay Fudge Packers, huh?
I don't know how that got in there. Must be something on the email glitching.
Typo.
So if Zeke plays, what does this split look like? Does Tony Pollard dare to touch the ball 15 times?
He's never touched the ball 15 times his entire career with the Dallas Cowboys, so no. Zeke's going to come back in, take a dominant role there, and he's going to have a pretty good game against the Green Bay Packers. I don't think Pollard's going to do very well this week.
Really?
Yes.
I think Pollard outscores Zeke this week. We're going to do another apology bet?
We still have to do. No, we're not going to do another one. There's still some.
Yeah, you're right.
ones
I cannot make one until I write your letter. That's fair.
Yeah, you've got to write mine, and I think Ron's still got to write Ryan's, and then we'll do some more apology bets. So, guys, we still owe 2 on this show. They will be coming in the next few weeks, we promise. And they're always a joy to watch the others' faces as the loser reads them.
All right. So, what do you think of Dalton Schultz this week, coming off the bye?
I'm playing him in my flex. I trust him. I really do. He's been a prominent role in that Cowboys offense. Almost kind of I think he's going to be their de facto number 2 option this week, and you can play him, I believe, in the flex.
Yeah, I like him. Him and Dak really have a chemistry. He's been banged up this year, but versus the Bears, Ryan just texted us that Casey's audio is so bad. You should have stuck with the pros, Ryan.
Yep.
Anyways, he's been banged up, but he really started to click versus the Bears and look like that safety net that he did in 21 for Dak. I think he scores in this game. I really like Dalton Schultz this week.
Yep.
Any Packers you're starting besides Aaron Jones and Allen Lazard? Would you touch Rodgers?
No, definitely not against the Cowboys. I would not touch Rodgers this week. I think you can play Lazard. AJ Dillon's going to suck this week. No, not a lot of Packers you want to play this week.
Okay. All right. And what are you doing with AJ Dillon? I put a note in here to suggest that if you have AJ Dillon, maybe trade him to the Aaron Jones owner.
What are you getting in return, though? It's not much value.
I don't know. Point. Package him with something. Maybe try and sell him. And also, I want to take this time to apologize to Adam, who asked Devin Duvernay or AJ Dillon.
Neither did well.
Neither did well. I really hemmed and hawed into the hater in our YouTube comments that told me it was Devin Duvernay by a mile and it shouldn't even be considered. What happened?
They both sucked. That's what happened.
They both sucked, but Dillon scored like 6.5 more points.
Adam, get back to us. Let us know if you won that matchup and if this is an apology that needed to happen or if JJ lost you the week.
I said I would formally apologize if I was wrong. I was wrong.
And you did.
I did.
You can't let your boy down again.
I can't. All right, I got the Cowboys in this one.
I got the Cowboys.
All right. I skipped the game. Colts at Raiders. It's definitely a skippable game. Raiders, 5.5-point favorites at home. We talked about Jonathan Taylor. I think right now Ellinger's slated to start. So will Michael Pittman finally have a good game? And I'm not saying that Ellinger is going to make it happen. I'm just saying he's due. Is it going to happen this game?
Pittman will be fine this game. I don't think he'll be great. It's that nothing more to say. He'll be fine.
It's not a super scary matchup.
No, the Raiders defense is definitely playable against. So, one of those wide receivers is going to perform in this game, and I think it'll be Pittman.
All right. Why did the Raiders stop using Josh Jacobs on third down? And is Josh McDaniels done with Amir Abdullah, or what is he doing? What is happening?
I think they really just want to lose, honestly. I think Josh McDaniels just likes to try to get cute sometimes, and he's messing around with the offense when he really shouldn't be because there's a lot of talent at that offense, and he just needs to play it straight up. So the real problem is that they just need to flush this Josh McDaniels experience completely away and fire him in 1 year. I can't stand Josh McDaniels as a head coach. He thinks he's Bill Belichick, and he's not. Use Josh Jacobs. He's one of your best players on offense, and get it fucking done because you have everything you need there to win.
Okay. We already talked about Waller and Renfro going on IR, so Mac Hollins is probably addable.
Very, very playable this week.
Yeah,
look for him to have, I think, a top 24 performance on the week.
Damn, that's a call right there. That's a call. Is he in your DraftKings lineup?
He may be.
All right.
I haven't made one yet, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay. I got the Raiders.
Raiders.
All right. We're done with that. All right. Cardinals at Rams. This could be Colt McCoy at John Wolford.
This could be another
Rams,
bad fantasy game.
1.5-point favorites. James kind of looked really good last week. Are we back in on him moving forward? Is he going to be his 2021 self? Startable every week?
Oh, I mean, you can be back in on him. He's unbelievably usable in the red zone, as the Cardinals have shown. The problem is the Cardinals have trouble getting into the red zone as of late. And if Colt McCoy is there,
the Cardinals' offense is, I would argue, as bad or worse than the Broncos. It's no production in the first half, and then the second half is just desperation trying to catch up in games. And
maybe they should just play desperate for a whole game.
They get into like third and long every single, or third and intermediate every single drive, and it's just so forced. It just looks terrible.
I think the scoreboard director just needs to put 30 points on the board for the away team when they're at home, and then the Cardinals will actually start producing points. This is another coach that I think is on the hot seat and is just frustrating the Call of Duty playing Kyler Murray over there. This offense is way underproducing, and Connor should be having a better year because they can't get him into position to score touchdowns, and that's what he did last year. That was his bread and butter and why he was such a productive fantasy player. He looked good last week. You got to play him this week, I think, even against the Rams defense, but I think you still got to play him, and I am going to go to the second part of your question in the script. Would you try to sell him high? I don't think I would. I think you can hang on to him.
Okay. All right, hang on to James Conner. So Kyler, bummed hamstring. Offense looks like garbage. Rams defense played the Bucs pretty tough last week. Would you trust him, or would you start somebody else like Trevor Lawrence over him?
That's what I was thinking. I would start Trevor Lawrence over Kyler Murray this week. Even historically, he doesn't ever play very good against the Rams. The Rams seem to always kind of have his number. He's banged up. It could be a 2 XP weekend. I would not play Kyler Murray if I could avoid it this week, even if he starts.
Yeah, I'm not excited about it. I got him in a couple leagues, and I would try and find an alternative, see what he looks like on the injury report Friday, but it's not an exciting matchup. And,
would you play Jared Goff over him?
I don't think I could bring myself to that.
Daniel Jones?
No. Justin Fields, I would.
Okay.
All right. How playable is Allen Robinson, assuming Stafford plays? Would you trust him in all in your flex?
I mean, if he plays, but I don't think he's going to play.
All right. So if Stafford does miss, how does that impact Cooper Kupp? Over and under 12 fantasy points. It doesn't?
It doesn't affect him because he'll be hybrid targeted by Wolford. I mean, yes, the over or under 12 fantasy points, he's easily going to have over 12. He's going to be massively over targeted in this game. I mean, he's not going to have his ceiling, but it's not going to be a bad game for him.
Okay. I have the Rams as of now, but if Stafford is out, I'm going to consider flipping the pick.
I've got the Arizona Cardinals as of now because I think Stafford is going to miss the game.
Okay. All right. Next game, Sunday Night Football. Pretty fun matchup.
This one's going to be good.
Chargers at 49ers. 49ers
really
point favorites.
Nice apple tartlet after a shit sandwich all day is what we're going to get.
All right. So my question is, if Deebo Samuel comes back and he's practicing, are you at all nervous about this? Because they have so many mouths to feed now. They got Deebo, they got Ayuk, they got Kittle, they got McCaffrey. Somebody's getting left out in the cold.
I am very worried about this, but guess what? It's Deebo Samuel. You're playing them, and you're taking the risk.
Right.
You don't have a choice here, but yeah, I'm very worried about it. Good problem to have if you're a 49ers fan. Not a good problem to have if you're a fantasy owner of any of these players outside of CMC.
Yeah, somebody's going to be heartbroken, but I think all of them, you have to start them if you have them. Ayuk is heating up a little bit. Kittle has really heated up before the bye.
Yeah, yep.
It's tough.
So, yeah, like you said, someone's going to have the door closed on him this week.
Yeah,
maybe Samuel.
It could be. Maybe they'll rest him another week because they're loaded.
Or maybe he'll be the triple option, passing, rushing, and catching a touchdown. You never know with this offense.
Somebody's got to do it. So it seems like Elijah Mitchell may come back this week. So if he does, how many touches is he going to get with CMC there? Are they going to try and preserve CMC a little bit, or is Mitchell just going to be left?
His ass is going to be squarely on the pine this weekend. No, nothing.
Jeez. All right. Yeah, I wouldn't play him, obviously. It'll be interesting to see how many carries he gets. I'm going to guess he gets.
I'm going to say 6.
Yeah, I was thinking between like 5 and 7 carries.
Yeah,
so
seems like a good number. Yeah, don't get any splinters, Elijah.
All right. Josh Palmer had over 100 last week. Kind of had a breakout game. Does he stay hot even if Keenan Allen comes back and plays in this one?
Yeah, because he's kind of built in the stature that Mike Williams is. So even if Keenan Allen does come back, I think he leads the wide receiving corps for the week. So, yeah, I do think he stays hot.
Okay, I agree. And my last question on this one, what do we think about Justin Herbert? Kind of rest of the season and in this tough matchup. He's been pressured more with Rashawn Slater out for the year, and he's missing Williams and Keenan Allen. Does he have a good game?
Against the 49ers? Oh, that's – and he's uber talented, but the San Francisco 49ers defense is just hard to play against. Can I say he's going to have a middle-of-the-road kind of performance? I think he may struggle in the first half and catch a little heat for the second half. I think he'll be good, not great.
260, 2 touchdowns and a pick.
It's kind of the feeling I'm getting to. I'm right along the line that you're at.
All right. I got the 49ers and all their weapons at home.
Yeah, I picked the 49ers for this game too. The Chargers are the kind of team that could sneak in here and get a win. They're a very talented roster, but the 49ers feel like the winner here.
49ers need to start rolling out the wins. They're all hyped up. They got all these weapons. Everyone's got them up in the power rankings. They need to start putting their money where their mouth is. So, yeah, I got the Niners. Last game, Monday Night Football, Washington Commanders, again in the news for
Go ahead.
with a bunch of negative publicity. Facing the Eagles, who are 11-point favorites. So my question is, what the hell do we do with the Commanders' backfield here? Robinson, Gibson, which one do you want? Can you play either? What do you think?
You're benching Robinson this week and you're playing Gibson. 1, Gibson actually has looked all right. 2, the Commanders are going to fall behind in this game very quickly. Gibson gets the passing work. He's more effective in the passing work. You could see a pretty decent fantasy performance out of him. Robinson was abysmal last week. Yeah, play Gibson.
Okay. Playing Gibson, I agree. Yeah, he's obviously got the pass catcher role. Robinson is just, I don't understand why the Commanders are so committed to him. He has not done anything impressive to me. He doesn't have breakaway speed. He just kind of trudges along for 3-yard carries. And
do you think that gunshot actually took a little bit away from him for the season? He's still recovering?
I mean, I don't think it helped him.
I don't think that would help anyone except, maybe get a record deal somewhere. But
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've never been a huge Robinson guy. I know I took him in our dynasty league and later traded him to you, obviously, but he just doesn't have that X factor about him that Gibson does, where he can turn it up the field, and he's just not as explosive. So, yeah, I don't know.
He's going to be in for a bad week.
Yep. All right. Jahan Dotson is finally at practice today. He was limited, however, but if he plays, how does this impact Terry McLaurin, who has that rapport with Heineke? Does it worry you at all if you're a Terry McLaurin owner?
No, the problem here is I'm not concerned about Jahan Dotson or Terry McLaurin in this game. I'm worried about the Philadelphia defense smothering Terry McLaurin in this game. So I don't think it matters whether it's Jahan Dotson or Terry McLaurin out there. I don't think I'm playing either one of them.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup. So my last two questions. What do you think about Devontae Smith? He's been so boomer bust. This is a great matchup for him. Does he finally have a big game here?
Yeah, he'll have a good game this week. I'm going to give the vanilla answer, 80 and a touchdown.
I like it. And Washington's D-line has been pretty nasty lately. Shut down running backs. Do you think Miles Sanders cools down after the monster week he had last week?
No, Miles Sanders is going to have an absolutely fantastic game this week.
Okay. I think
Hurts is going to have to run a little more in this one. I think they're going to crush the Commanders on Monday Night Football.
It does seem that way in Philly. Monday night's going to be wild and rowdy. I don't think the Eagles are taking their first loss yet on this one. So
undefeated Philly stays undefeated.
Undefeated. I don't. They could go into double-digit wins, I think.
Yeah. And look for this guy right here, Miles Sanders, to continue playing very well. And if you guys would like to get this card, as we mentioned earlier on the show, what are the 4 things you have to do, JJ?
Like and subscribe to this video is 1 and 2. Comment that you're a member of the Heckling Fandom 3. And 4, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And your name will be put in Ron's disgusting hat and drawn out.
That is if he actually shows up for that show and isn't a ghost that night. Then you'll have to wait till the next show after that.
Yes.
Yes, but that Gridiron Miles Sanders card is very valuable. Just look it up online if you don't believe me. So do all 4 of those things and win it. Anything else you've got to talk about for anything during these games, JJ?
I don't think so. If you're done with us, pop over to Ryan on Garbage Time Presents, the MMA podcast, where he and Casey and his terrible audio are breaking down UFC 281. It's a great card this Saturday. So if you can tolerate Casey's audio, why don't you go over there?
Absolutely, guys. And if you like what you've heard on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, like and subscribe to the show. We are here on YouTube. You can also listen to us on Twitch and Twitter live. Make sure to leave your questions below if you're not watching this live too. We always get to them. We are very interactive with the Heckling Fandom. You can listen to us in audio formats on Apple, Spotify, Google, Pandora, Amazon, Iheartradio. Tune in. Leave us voicemails at www.garbagetimeft.com. We are on Instagram at Garbage Time Fantasy Football, where you can leave us questions in the comments of any of the clips that we make or in the message box, or you can go over to Twitter where JJ takes care of those answers. Adam, that's the direction you want to go if you want to get to your boy at garbage_time FF. Anything to say to the Heckling Fandom before we get out of here tonight, JJ?
Good luck in your matchups this week, and hopefully your fantasy team scores more than the Falcons have so far tonight.
Absolutely, and make sure to pop over to that MMA show if you're a fan of that. Have a good night, guys.